WORD.com.
Minus like never before with 100,000 watts of power. It's the right talk.
Charlie?
Welcome. This is the Charlie James Show.
Now we're talking.
News Talk 98.9.
WORD.
The voice of the Carolinas.
Pardon me for asking, but
What day is it?
Do you really not know?
I really don't.
Here's a hint.
Obi-Wan never told you what happened to your father. He told me you. No, I am your father.
Say what?
May 4th. It's May the 4th. Happy Star Wars Day. May the 4th be with you. Enjoy Star Wars Day.
Happy Star Wars Day! It's showtime.
It is showtime, Star Wars Day, May the 4th. Welcome to the program, everybody. This is the Charlie James Show, News Talk 98.9 WORD, the voice of the Carolinas. Glad to have you along with us. Another absolutely beautiful day today. We'll talk a little bit more about Star Wars coming up. But right now we want to get to some of the news that is happening today. Governor Henry McMaster has signed. I love the way that the mainstream media is framing this. Now, and it's not, some folks, they're in the local media, but they just take the Associated Press story, which is wildly radical liberal, and they just send it right on down the line. They don't even look at it. They don't even put their own spin on it or anything like that. They just they just print it whole cloth. But I love this. South Carolina governor signs private school voucher bill, a bill that will use public funds, public money for private schools. Actually, what it is, it's private money that was taken by the government, and then we're using it for that. Joining us right now is Representative Adam Morgan. Welcome to the program, sir. Glad to have you along with us. Pretty good day for education here in South Carolina, right?
Hey, Charlie. Yeah, great to be with you. And absolutely, this is a huge milestone for South Carolina. We've been attempting or fighting for an actual school choice bill for years. I mean, this is years in the making.
Yes.
And last year we were so close. Both chambers passed different versions and couldn't agree. And I think a lot of it was because that was intentional. There were people trying to, keep it from passing. But this year, everything got orchestrated well. Leadership in both chambers supported it. Ellen Weaver, Superintendent of Education, was a force in the discussion. And I think that momentum helped finally get it over the finish line for the first time to really have a true school choice program in South Carolina.
I mean, people that have been keeping up with this, I mean, this was a thing during Mark Sanford. This was a thing during Nikki Haley. And finally, it gets done under McMaster. But you just said, is that a tactic that is used a lot when somebody doesn't want the bill passed? They would just come up with some outrageous version of the bill in order to keep the houses from agreeing?
Yeah, we might pass opposing versions, and then they either don't agree on conference or they don't actually have a conference. That happened with the abortion bill last year, the protection from conception bill. The Senate just refused to send somebody to conference to actually fix the differences out. So that is definitely a scheme that is sometimes used. Charlie, I wanted to comment. I should have commented this already, but you read that quote about the public funds.
Mm-hmm.
You got to love that spin on it because the state constitution says that the state's supposed to provide, free education for the kids, for students. Well, then that's only applies right now if you attend a public school.
Yeah.
So people that choose homeschool or certain other forms of schooling or Christian school, whatever it may be, religious school, they don't, get that. They pay for other people's kids to go to, the public school, but they have to then pay for their students' education. And, the reason that people are so against this in the establishment, educational infrastructure, and specifically the teachers unions, people like that, is because they know when they compete, it's going to actually force the public school to be better. And a lot of the people that are, in the system, they don't want to actually have competition. They don't want to improve, the teaching. They don't want to actually, stamp out some of the problematic junk that they're teaching in classrooms, with CRT and other partisan ideologies.
Sure.
But when you have a voucher system and parents can choose if you're doing a bad job, that's going to be a serious problem. You don't have the monopoly on the market anymore.
You're exactly right. And I think studies have shown that private schools and homeschooling, I mean, they're actually turning out better educated students, right?
Yeah. And wherever the states, implement these programs, their education system, the public education system gets better because they have to compete, because parents vote with their feet and choose what's best for their kids, which is how it always should have been from the beginning.
You're right. All ships rise in the tide. So what does this actually do? Because now and you're hearing the talking points. Oh, this is just taking funds away from the public school system and all of that. I mean, that's a bunch of bunk, right?
Yeah. First of all, we have lots of funding already going to the public school systems. And this is, like I said, that's more of a fear tactic. That's not happened anywhere else in all the states that have it. In Arizona and Florida and Indiana, the school systems do just fine. And so, that's really more of a fear tactic. One of the Democrats on the floor said that this is the death of public education. And I just had to laugh. If a little competition of only 5,000, I mean, this program is so small. We wanted, like the Freedom Caucus members, we want universal school choice, like what Arizona and Florida have. That's what we actually wanted. We just recognized that was absolutely not possible right now. We couldn't even get a worse version passed last year. So we had to, start the program. There's only 5,000 students that are even allowed in this program in the first year. How is that going to kill public education? It's not. It's a joke.
If that is what it takes to kill public education, then they're already on their last breath, right?
Yeah. And if that really were to kill it, then maybe it needs to die, but it's not going to kill it, because what's going to happen is the public schools are just going to get better. And that's what we all want. We want every kid, whether you choose private, whether you choose public, whether you choose homeschooling, we want kids to have the best education possible. And that's what everyone should be able to agree on.
One of our texters, 929, is asking, are homeschoolers going to be eligible for these vouchers?
Not currently. Like I said, the goal is to expand it. It has to be somebody that is coming out of the public school and going into a private school that works under the guidelines that they have set forth. And like I said, there's a lot. I'll actually just say there's a lot of things in this bill that long term, we didn't really like that much. Yeah. But as I mentioned, this has died so many times. And to actually get the program started, where you've seen really successful programs in Indiana and Florida and Arizona, they started, and then as people saw it and realized, wow, this is great for the students in it, this is great even for the public schools, you're able to expand it to get to universal that is available for everyone, much broader than those 5,000. The current program starts at 5 and it goes each year. It's 5,000 the first year, 10,000 students the second, and then 15,000 the third. At the beginning, it's people that are at 100% above the federal poverty level, but then by year 3, it's 400% over that. So, like I said, it's always expanding, and that'll be the goal of the legislature, is to continue expanding the program by showing that it's working. I mean, if it's a complete failure, so be it. I just know it's not going to be, because everywhere it's been implemented, it's been a raging success.
One of the big concerns, we're talking with State Representative Adam Morgan, one of the big concerns is that with this money is going to come restrictions and more government input into how the schools operate. Is that going to be the case?
Yeah, yeah, I understand that argument. So first of all, no one's required to take the money, whether it be, the parents or students or institutions. The private institutions don't actually have to accept it. And once again, that would just be something that the legislature has to be vigilant on, is to not allow it to do those things. But like I said, it really just comes down to whether the school wants to opt in or out of the program.
Mm-hmm. All right. Well, we will see what happens. But then again, I mean, like I said, this was going on from Mark Sanford to Nikki Haley, and now through McMaster. State Representative Adam Morgan. Always a pleasure, sir. Thank you very much. We'll talk to you very, very soon. Appreciate it.
Thanks for having me on, Charlie.
You're very welcome. It is the 4th of May, May the 4th. It is Star Wars Day. Tim, you're a big Star Wars fan, right?
Yes, sir.
Are you really?
Yeah, I love Star Wars.
Completely honest, are you?
I am. I've seen every movie probably about a million times.
Did you enjoy all of them?
Not the new ones, no.
I understand. Well, there's another sci-fi out there. This has been around for a long time. It's called Dune. Do you know about Dune?
Yeah, I have not had the privilege of watching it yet, though.
Okay. There's a new Dune movie coming out, and you need to check out that trailer.
Okay.
It is amazing looking. It looks really, really good. We'll talk more about this coming up. Also, later on today, fingers crossed we can get them at just the right time. We might have a very special guest coming up on the program. We'll tell you who that is, and we'll tell you why we're having them on when we get back. This is the Charlie James Show. News Talk 98.9 WORD, the voice of the Carolinas. Okay, so they took Tucker Carlson off the air. He's kaput, right? Done, gone. And I've been wondering, what am I going to watch at night now? Well, I might, my prayers might have been answered. And who would have thought that it would come from a good friend of mine? And that friend is a gentleman named Chris Plant. Chris Plant is a radio host. He's nationally syndicated. He is out of WMAL in Washington, D.C. Chris Plant, I believe it's starting next week, is going to have a brand new show on Newsmax. It's going to be at 9 o'clock every night. And if you're not familiar with Chris Plant, he is wildly entertaining, extremely funny. He's a former CNN news correspondent, very good conservative gentleman, and he has got a brand new show coming up on Newsmax, and I believe it starts next week, maybe the week after next. But we'll nail that down with. Well, we're going to talk to him today if we can get him at the Newsmax studio while he is running through, kind of rehearsals. They're doing all the staging, they're doing all the lighting, they're doing the camera angles, they're doing all the technical stuff there at the Newsmax studio. So we're going to be, hopefully we'll be able to talk to Chris Plant coming up right around 5:06 this afternoon. Also, 4:35 this afternoon, we're going to be talking with Congressman Jeff Duncan about the debt ceiling and also about the vaccine mandates that are set to expire. So that'll be a very interesting conversation there. Okay, Tim, did you see the trailer for that movie Dune?
I did.
What do you think about that? You don't sound impressed.
I mean, yeah, I don't know. Maybe it's just because some of these trailers just aren't that good anymore or something.
You didn't think that one was good?
Yeah, I mean, I really don't know what's going on, but that could be because I haven't seen the first one. So
you didn't read the book, right?
I have not read the book, no, sir.
Okay, all right. So there you go. You haven't read.
It looks cool though.
But here's the thing:
wise.
Dune was Star Wars before Star Wars.
Right.
Okay, and one of the most popular science fiction book series ever written was Dune. And they've always tried to make a good Dune movie, but they've never been able to. However, this one looks like it might actually be good.
Yeah, I mean, it looks good. I mean, visually.
Well, there you go.
Again, I don't know the story very well, so.
Somebody says another remake of Dune. I know all the other ones have been horrible. They've been awful. But this one actually looks promising. Like it might be something you would actually go to the movie theater to watch. I haven't been this excited about a movie in a long time.
Well, I'm glad you're excited about it.
I said I haven't been this excited about a movie. I have not been excited about a movie for a long time.
Hey, I know what you mean. I know what you mean when it comes to that.
It's just so much garbage that is being put out there in Hollywood now. You don't even care. I mean, even the television shows are trash. Everything is just junk.
Well, that's what worried. Well, no, because this says Warner Brothers, but I thought Dune was owned by Disney.
Oh, I hope not.
I thought so. I could be wrong on that.
That might knock it right off the list before I even look to see how much tickets cost.
Disney, I don't know. Disney may own Warner Brothers.
Who knows? Yeah, who knows?
They own almost everything.
Isn't that the truth?
Yeah.
Which is pretty disturbing.
Well, that's what they've done for years.
Oh, yeah. All right, the GS Plumbing Talk Line, 800-905-0989. The Common Sense Retirement Planning text line, 71307. Would love to chat with you this afternoon because we got a bunch of stuff going on out there. We're just talking about the television shows, and the writer's strike is still going on in Hollywood. That has basically blacked out all of your late night shows, which I know you're probably not going to miss one bit, except for Gutfeld, because they don't use guild writers. They don't use writers from the Writers Guild. So they're still up and running, and good for them. I am glad they are, because
the stuff that the Writers Guild is putting out is absolute trash. It really, I mean, I'm just, you sit here and you're just baffled by all of that stuff. That how bad and how formulated all of the television shows are. I mean, when you watch a show these days, you know exactly who you're going to see in the cast. You're going to see a black person. It's going to be a gay, either a gay male or a gay female. There's going to be somebody with a disability. There's going to be somebody that's Hispanic. There's going to be somebody that's Asian, and they're all going to be of different ideologies, except for conservative. And if you do see a conservative, or if you do see a religious person, they're going to be the bad guys. But that's the way Hollywood thinks. My wife and I were just watching this British show, and we kind of had high hopes for it because it was an Anne Cleves adaptation, and I just think the world of Anne Cleves. But even it, the only people in that television show that were religious or had faith were the bad guys. That was it. So they had to come along and make them the villains of the story. Because why? Because you gotta. And the main reason that they made the religious people the villains of the story was because the chief detective in the story was gay.
You got to call her.
And so therefore, the religious people have to be evil. So let's go to Charity in Chesney. How you doing, Charity?
Hey, Charlie, I'm not doing too good, but thank you for taking my call.
Yes.
This has nothing to do with what you're talking about, but I'll let you know I'm a huge fan. Been listening to you ever since you came on.
Thank you.
I know you're a huge dog lover, so I wanted to just give I lost my little sweet 6-year-old Yorkie yesterday.
Oh.
Her name was Ivy Grace, and it was a horrible experience at the vet. I know you have a lot of listeners. She went in, had about 2 weeks ago, had a healthy checkup. They wanted to do a dental cleaning on her. Said blood work was fine. I dropped her off at that vet at 7:00 yesterday morning, and by noontime they called and said she had passed away. And all they could tell us was they didn't know why. And what was so horrible is they insisted we paid $588. And even though we were in there, just grief, and I was just in shock and so upset. And they made us pay $588, and all they told us was they didn't know what happened to her. They didn't know what happened to her.
Oh, that's
and
horrible.
So I just it was Heartland Animal Hospital in Boiling Springs, and we'd gone there for a long time. It was Heartland. I just wanted people to know that, and I usually don't put down, but that was horrible. And I just want to give her a shout out on your show because she was a sweet. We found her. Somebody left her on the side of the road in our old neighborhood, and she was a puppy. She was the best little dog in the world. I'm feeling really guilty because I took her to get her teeth cleaned when it probably wasn't something that needed to be done. But just listeners, if just sometimes beware of that, because that was just a horrible experience at that vet. But I love your show and think the world of you, and I just wanted to give Ivy Grace a little shout out on your show to let her know that.
Well, I appreciate that.
And we're going to miss her.
Thank you very much for sharing that. Little Ivy Grace, I know, I can tell she was a very big part of your life, just like most people's pets are. So heart breaks for you, Charity. I just pray that you have comfort in just thinking back and remembering the good times with Ivy Grace, because they are such a big part of our lives. So my prayers are with you. We'll be right back. This is the Charlie James Show, News Talk 98.9 WORD, the voice of the Carolinas.
Eyewitnesses want it when you see
Save it on your phone. That's 800-905-0989.
This is the Charlie James Show, only on News Talk 98.9 WORD.
The voice of the Carolinas.
You know, in Mark Levin's book, American Marxism, he talks about how the revolution never ends. There is no end to the revolution. There always has to be the revolution. The revolution is there on its own, and it's a being that constantly has to be fed by the Democrat Party. So we had racial issues in this country pretty much figured out until Obama. And then once Obama was elected president, he started the new racial divide in America. And remember that when he called out the police in Philadelphia and all of that, something a president should never do. But he did, and really started dividing the gap between the races again. So we as Americans, we like I said, we pretty much had it figured out, but that wasn't good enough, because heaven forbid, they don't want whites, blacks, Asians, and Hispanics getting along. Oh, if that were to happen, that would be the end of the Democrat Party. So they have to always stoke the fires of division. Same thing is happening with women now. Same thing. So women struggled for equality. They struggled for equal pay. They struggled for equal representation. They struggled for college scholarships like under Title IX. They struggled for those things, and then they got them. And now, to further stoke more division, what do we have? You've got biological males competing against women for all of these things. All of these things. Because the Democrats are the party of division. That's what they want. That's how they make their money. Because that's what their donors do. Okay? Now, are you ready? Listen to this. When we were coming up, and especially in the 70s and the 80s, early 90s, you started hearing about, you shouldn't see race. You should not see race. When someone is standing in front of you, you should just see a human being. You should just see an American in front of you. You should not see race. Now they want you to see race. In fact, they require you to see race. This is coming from the New England Journal of Medicine, one of the most prestigious medical journals in the country. They published a research paper suggesting that medical students should be separated and taught based on their race. That's right. And why is this? What is it going to do? Well, that's going to resolve anti-racism in the curricula that they have. The long-running journal, reading from Pittsburgh Courier here, the long-running journal published the controversial study on Thursday, April the 27th, which was conducted by 7 researchers at the University of California in San Francisco. Surprise, surprise. The research asserts that separating students based on race allows them to learn differently and discuss their experiences without fear of pushback. Wait a minute, these are medical students. These are medicals. What are you teaching in medical school these days? They say, since traditional approaches to medical education are themselves founded in inequitable systems, new approaches are essential. What inequitable systems are there? Well, I tell you what we're going to have to do now. We're just going to have to separate black welders from white welders. We're going to have to separate black pipe fitters from white pipe fitters. We're going to have to separate black farmers and white farmers. We're going to have to in fact, heck, we're just going to have to separate the entire workforce of the United States into white and black. I thought this was something we were not supposed to do.
You got a caller.
Let's go to, we'll get to the Dean later on. I'm just not ready for that just yet. But there's a group called the Racial Affinity Group that caucuses, they say, the approach tailors areas to of focus to each identity group to supplement and differentiate the education received in racially integrated spaces, enabling participants to progress more effectively through the next stages of learning. Racial Affinity Group caucuses facilitated sessions for learners who join groups and according to a self-identified racial or ethnic identity can help integrate anti-racism curricula into clinical practice. So I'm not getting it. Maybe it's just me.
You got another caller.
Maybe it's just me. I thought we were supposed to be beyond this. So now we're going to have to separate black fry cooks from white fry cooks? I don't think so. Let's go to Jimmy in Taylor's and talk to him. Jimmy, welcome to the program. How are you?
Hey, I'm doing well, Charlie.
Yes, sir.
Thank you so much for being there for us.
Thank you.
I just have a comment about Obama. The thing that bothered me about Obama was, yes, he is racist. There's no question about it. He's the racist. But when he talks and when he is interviewed and then when he meets with the liberal media, what he does is he's very creative. I guess I could use that term. Creative in making you think you heard one thing, but what he meant was another thing.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. He's very good at doublespeak. Oh, sure.
I know you thought that, but he just had a way of doing that, and the gullible, the simple, and the silly would just believe that.
Yeah.
But he was just a deceiver from the word go, and I hated it for him because he had a chance to do a great work.
But he didn't.
But he deceived.
He blew it.
And he was the racist of all racists.
Yeah.
As far as I'm concerned.
You're exactly right, Jimmy. I appreciate you calling in. You are exactly right. All right, Dean is in Cashville. Going to talk to him about the Dune movie. Coming up in just a second. Put him back on hold. We'll get right to Dean in just a second. We'll take a quick break and be right back. This is the Charlie James Show. News Talk 98.9 WORD, the voice of the Carolinas.
Planning text line.
It's 71307.
It's the Charlie James Show.
News Talk 98.9
WORD.
The voice of the Carolinas.
Welcome back to the program. Let's go to Dean in Cashville and talk about the new Dune movie. Dean, how you doing, buddy?
Not bad, Charlie. I was a huge fan of the first Dune movie, and the reason you're right, Dune was Star Wars before Star Wars. Not only is that, Dune is what Star Wars should be for one reason. It's because Dune is conservative, and here's how. The left. Earlier today, I heard them talking about the immigration issue, child labor, etc. Here's the problem. When you and I talk about it, we talk about 15,000 people across the border a day. No, here's what they were talking about. They were talking about one little girl who worked at a processing plant packing Cheerios in Michigan.
Right.
Okay. They take care of her. Hey, their conscience is soothed. Dune, the reason this applies to Dune is not about one person. It is, but whereas Star Wars has become besotted with one or two people, Dune is about a giant historic landscape. In the first movie, when they arrive on the planet Arrakis, they're led off the ship by bagpipes. It's very clear this is a huge historic drama, and this is important because the left cares about feelings. The right cares about the next two generations.
Yeah.
And what makes Dune so good, what made the first Star Wars, well, even until the new group, what made it so significant was it was the story of history. And it sounds dry, it sounds cut, but the left focuses on warm and fuzzy feelings about one person. The right focuses on the big picture of where history is going. And that's why I am excited for Dune.
Yeah, it's going to be good.
Keep up the good work.
I appreciate it, buddy. Thank you. It's going to be good. But Tim, I mean, again, you don't know a lot about Dune, do you? I mean, because,
No.
you didn't see the original, you didn't read the books or anything like that.
It's hard for me to form an opinion on it just because I haven't.
Here's the thing about Dune, why I feel like it never really caught on as well as Star Wars did. Dune is far more complex.
Yeah.
Okay? It is far more complex than Star Wars. I mean, I think everybody could name the main characters in Star Wars, right?
Oh, yeah, of course.
But the amount of people that are in Dune, I mean, I don't know if you guys read the book, Game of Thrones, but
I've read some of it.
So many characters in that thing. It is just, you lose track of who's doing what and what they're doing and blah, blah, blah. It was a great story, and I love what they did with the television series, but the book is highly complex. And so is Dune. But hopefully this one will be something that people will remember, because I think Dune deserves a place right alongside Star Wars. And that's about it. It's kind of like Blade Runner. I mean, I thought Blade Runner was okay.
Okay, I've seen that.
But just okay.
Yeah.
That was it.
I'll agree. But I mean, from what you've said about it, I really do want to check it out.
Yeah. I mean, just for the visuals alone, it's going to be fantastic. But the only reason we're talking about this today is because it's May the 4th.
Yeah,
May the 4th be with you.
That's right.
And it is Star Wars Day.
Happy Star Wars Day.
Artificial intelligence generated beer commercial on YouTube. I'm going to have to check this out because several people have told me about this, and I haven't been able to check it out yet. But listen to this: Budweiser is now begging you to forgive them. In fact, they're begging you so hard that they want to give away free beer, right? Now listen to this. The CEO of Anheuser-Busch has unceremoniously disavowed the disastrous Dylan Mulvaney stunt, insisting that it was not a campaign. It was just one. He is so begging for forgiveness. So he said it was just one can. We just put Dylan Mulvaney's picture on one can. That's all we did. Global boss Michael Ducaris addressed the media backlash, the mass backlash over working with trans influencer Dylan Mulvaney. I'm pretty sure he was crying. Ducaris told investors that there was misinformation spreading on social media about the company's team up with Mulvaney. He said that the company is providing direct financial support to the frontline workers impacted by the boycott. Ducaris said, we need to clarify the facts that this was one camp, one influencer, one post, and not a campaign. He said, we will continue to learn, meet the moment in time, all be stronger, and we work tirelessly to do what we do best, bring people together over beer and creating a future of more cheers. But here's the thing. You stepped in it. You got it all over you. And this should be a lesson to you not to step in it again. You crossed the line and you paid the price. And I hope you continue to pay the price, because I want all of these other brands to see that when you go woke, you do indeed go broke. And I don't have a problem. In fact, I am glad that this boycott of Bud Light has worked so well, because it now shows conservatives out there that we have power. We have power to change things. We have power to change and influence culture, because politics flows downstream from culture. And we've been losing the culture war for a while now. Well, now it's time for everybody to rise up, get together, and en masse start defending the values that really made America great. We'll be right back. This is the Charlie James Show, News Talk 98.9 WORD, the voice of the Carolinas.
100,000 watts of power. It's the right talk.
Charlie?
Welcome. This is the Charlie James Show.
Now we're talking.
News Talk 98.9,
WORD.
the voice of the Carolinas.
RNC Chairwoman Ronna McDaniels was on with Shannon Bream and talking about how the Democrats are trying to portray Republicans as being too divisive.
Well, we're seeing this happen, right? And I'm not surprised he's going to hide. He's hid from the press. He's hid from the American people. He doesn't take tough questions. He doesn't have to answer for anything, any of the scandals that he has in his presidency. So he's going to hide again. And most of the media will allow him to do that. But I do think he's right about one thing. We cannot win if we're not united. If Republicans don't vote for other Republicans, we're not going to win. And we don't just need all of Republicans. We need independents too. You know, Shannon, Republicans are migrating. They are migrating to red states. Why? Because we've got great governors across the country, low taxes, our policies work. But it means the White House electorally isn't available to us unless we go through a purple or blue state. And those states are getting bluer because red voters are moving to the red states. So this is
but are they getting bluer? Let's be joined now by Drew McKissick, the chairman of the SCGOP, vice chair of the RNC. Drew, welcome to the program. How are you?
Man, I'm doing well this afternoon. How are you?
Doing good. You know, Ronna McDaniels said that we need purple states. A lot of people here in the upstate are thinking that South Carolina is getting pretty purple. What do you say about that?
Well, here in South Carolina, we know how much more Republican we've gotten in the last several elections. In the last two elections alone, in each of the two elections, rather, we have won more elections for Republicans in each of those elections than at any time in the last 150 years. We know we've got a record supermajority in State House of Representatives, first time since Sherman left town. We know we're one vote away from the supermajority in the Senate, elected more local county council members, sheriffs, et cetera, all the way around the state, and beat Democrats by a whopping 27 points on straight ticket voting, actually last November, as a matter of fact, which is only 6 years ago, the first time we ever beat them on straight ticket voting. So we're getting more Republican here. And, you know, but we do know who's moving into the state. And we're in the top 5 in the country in terms of the destination state where people are moving in. And we see where that's coming predominantly along the coast and then some up there in the upstate where you are. And typically what we see are, you know, right of center retirees, especially along the coast. You know, we get the lists, you know, every 3 or 4 months of the new known Republicans who have moved into our state who have not yet registered to vote. You know, they maybe were a registered Republican in, you know, Pennsylvania or Florida or wherever they moved from. Most of them are tax refugees, I call them.
Right.
You know, so they've come here because of, you know, lower taxes for one thing, property taxes and income tax. And, you know, we've seen what's happened. So, for instance, Horry County, you know, which is probably, you know, I'd say making a run to be the most Republican county in the state now, you know, giving Greenville a run for its money here in terms of the title. A lot of red state, or I'd say red, if you will, retirees from other states who've come here. And then also places like, you know, Beaufort County, Sun City, and the retirees you have down there. But it's a different situation in other states around the country, you know, because a lot of those folks they're leaving, you know, blue states or purple states in most cases, not exclusively, but in most cases when you average it all out. And, you know, it does affect the electoral college math, you know, for the White House in some places.
So winning elections is one thing, and that is great. Passing legislation is another. I mean, we are having struggles, it seems like, here in South Carolina, getting good conservative bills. I mean, you've got Republicans that want to be soft on abortion, Republicans that are against things like constitutional carry, things like closing the primaries. We can't get those things done. When we elect and expect things out of Republicans and then they don't seem to deliver, how are we supposed to react?
Well, sometimes it's a measure of how quickly they're able to deliver. So I'll just point out, in fairness, you know, today the governor signed the school choice bill into law. You know, the ESA bill we've been working on for 2 years now. So now You've got a segment of our population who are going to have a chance to have $6,000 credit and be able to take their children out of failing public schools and on into private schools. That's something that next year legislators are going to look to ramp up even further, and then even further the next year to eventually where we can get to the point where we have universal school choice in this state. Great first step. Today, as a matter of fact, the legislature passed a certificate of need bill. You know, when you talk about free market choice and health care,
right.
Opening up healthcare options around the state for more people. The governor will be able to sign that into law in a few days, I'm sure. And then, of course, you pointed out the abortion issue. Well, we had, the most pro-life bill in the history of the state passed last year by our legislature. But then we had a Supreme Court that got in the way by a 3-2 vote, and screwed it up, quite frankly. Since then, we've replaced one of those Supreme Court justices. And the Senate passed one bill, the House passed another bill, the Senate refused to pass the House's bill, so now we got to see if the House will pass the one the Senate passed. So it's nothing gets done overnight, and I would dare say no conservative would want to live in a country where anything and everything we would want could be done overnight, because then it could be undone overnight. When we lose the next election, if that happens. Legislation takes time, but they've made progress. And, so let's put it this way. If that weren't the case, you wouldn't see more and more people trending and voting Republican at all levels here in our state.
But again, when you say we've got a super majority in the House, we nearly have a super majority in the Senate. Why is it a struggle to pass conservative legislation? Why does it take so much time? Why can't we get the bills that are really important to the people of South Carolina passed relatively quickly?
Well, you get some of them. You can't always get all of them, because here's the thing. You and I can sit here right now and agree on a policy that we want, an end result, which is, let's say, for instance, from a party perspective, we call that our platform. These are things that we all agree on, a consensus document that we would like to see in public policy. What we don't always agree on, though, is how to get there, or what the details may be. And then sometimes people get caught up on the details over a matter of principle. So, it's one thing to say you've got two conservatives in a room and agree on where they want to go, but not over how they want to get there all the time. And then you add to that the fact that you've got two legislative chambers, not one. So both of them have to agree and then go back and forth. And, and there's only so many legislative days in any given legislative session. So they only have so much time to go around. They have to pass the budget, and that leaves less time to argue about differences over other bills. So again, we've got where we got, in the last several years with the Heartbeat Bill, with the Open Carry with Training Act. We are moving on constitutional carry. You're going to see that become law sometime here in the future in South Carolina. If it's not this year, it will be before the end of next session. I don't have any doubt in my mind about that. The speakers, I know, is in favor of that and moving forward with that. And again, being able to get the certificate of need this year and be able to get the school choice this year. We've worked on that for like 2 years now. And that's great progress for educational choice in this state. And you add to that now, having a superintendent of education in Ellen Weaver, who is a huge school choice advocate. I think you're going to see the legislature move further and faster on things like school choice because of that.
Well, certainly, but you can understand, people's frustration when we hear about how conservative our legislature is supposed to be, and then these bills just keep going by the wayside. We just had Shane Massey saying that he was for gun rights, but he wants you to get a permit and have the training and all of that stuff. It's just it gets incredibly frustrating for the average voter there when they take the time, they go to the polls, and it doesn't seem like the issues that they care about actually get taken care of. I wish we could have more consensus in our state legislature and less bickering.
Well, that would be asking that people involved in politics weren't human. And, personalities do influence politics, no doubt about that. All the other human frailties and everything else we have in every other endeavor of life certainly work their way into politics. And then we have these things called primaries, and voters come around in primaries and they make judgments on, those who represent them, either in the legislature or in local office. Sometimes they make changes, sometimes they don't, and that influences things. I think maybe the recent, debate that the Senate had over abortion, last week over the House's bill, might play, I would say, in primaries next year. You'll probably see some of that. And whether or not the House can take action on the Senate's bill might play in primaries next year. So all of this is, they stand for judgment before other primary voters. But I can say, with certainty, in the last several cycles, we've seen more things get done that is on the conservative checklist than we had in the years prior to that, because we keep adding to our numbers. The more conservatives who do join the legislature, the harder it is for a few people who don't necessarily agree with us but might wear our jersey to actually get in the way.
All right, Drew McKissick, chairman of the South Carolina Oh, by the way, I mean,
Yes,
Ronnie McDaniel's talking about how many debates coming up?
Yeah, there's not a set number, but I would say before it's over, it'll probably be in the neighborhood of 10.
Wow.
So
that's a lot of debates.
We want to make sure that people can hear from our candidates, and we can involve other conservative organizations in the debate process. We think that'll be a definite improvement over how it's been in the past. And I think you'll be pleasantly surprised when you see some of the conservative groups who become part of that process.
Are we going to be getting, hopefully we'll get some in here in South Carolina, right?
Oh, I think you could pretty well bet your house that there'll be something like that coming here sometime soon.
All right, sounds good. Drew McKissick, the South Carolina GOP. Always a pleasure, sir. We'll talk soon. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
We'll be right back, y'all. It's the Charlie James Show, News Talk 98.9 WORD, the voice of the Carolinas.
98.9. Save it on your phone. That's 800-905-0989.
This is the Charlie James Show, only on News Talk 98.9 WORD.
The voice of the Carolinas.
Coming up at 4:35, we're going to be talking with Congressman Jeff Duncan about the debt ceiling and the vaccine mandates that are getting ready to expire under the Biden administration. Also, Tim, you have recently you got a house now, and you have started cutting your lawn, right?
Correct.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
The folks on the left out there are trying to do something called No Mow May.
Oh God.
Have you heard about this?
No, but I think I know where it's going.
Where you do not cut your grass for the entire month of May.
Kind of like No Shave November.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. But this isn't for a good cause. This is for some liberal greeny weenie cause. We're going to be talking to Larry Barons about this coming up. Not only that, they want to get rid of gas stoves. They don't want you, like I said. Now, I'm pretty sure they're okay if you use a battery-powered lawnmower or maybe one with a cord. Man, I'll tell you what, when I was down in Charleston, and it wasn't for environmental reasons. All right. It wasn't for the environment or anything like that. I decided to get an electric lawnmower with a cord because I had a really small front yard and a fairly small backyard. And it was, you get a couple of extension cords and you hook them together, and that's just absolutely fine. That took care of the problem. And I got to admit, the lawnmower was pretty good. I mean, it cut nice, cut well, but it got to be such a pain. It really did. I just, and the reason that I got the corded one was because I knew that I would forget to charge my battery or the battery would die or whatever it was. But anyway, I made the decision, what I thought was a logical decision for this thing. And it was just a disaster. I hated using that thing. So I went out and got me a good gas lawnmower, and I love it. I love my lawnmower. I got a Toro recycler, and man, that thing is fantastic. It's got personal pace on it. It's great. It goes as fast as you go. It's really good.
Is it a push mower?
It's self-propelled.
That's what I have. Okay.
But it's got a thing called personal pace. So if you walk slow, it goes slow.
Oh, okay.
If you walk fast, it goes fast, which is really cool technology.
Yeah.
The way they do it. So, but I love that thing. So easy, and it does such a good job on the yard.
Yeah, I can mow my grass one-handed.
There you go.
It's nice.
That's a big thing,
Yeah.
You got gas, your hand on the lawnmower.
Mm-hmm.
Another one
just
free.
kind of guiding it instead of just pushing.
Another one free for a beer.
Yeah.
Why are you out there doing that?
Or water.
But yes, water. Yeah, that's what I meant to say. I meant to say water. I didn't mean to say beer. But I was really worried this year because my lawn is embarrassing. Now, you guys know that my goal, I've never achieved it, but my goal is to have the best lawn in the neighborhood. So I work really hard at it. Well, this year, it's a disaster. Now, the front yard, no excuse whatsoever. I got no excuse for the front yard. But the backyard, because we got little Sophie Rose, the time that we got her, I didn't want to put out the chemicals on my lawn that could maybe hurt her when she was a puppy. So I kind of almost sacrificed the backyard. Big mistake. And now the front yard looks bad. And I thought it was just me. But apparently, and I'm looking around the neighborhood and I'm going like, everybody's yard has poana in it. Everybody's yard has this poana. And I've never seen poana this bad before. And I was just wondering, I was like, man, did I use the wrong pre-emergent herbicide in the fall? Did I not put it out when I was supposed to put it out? Did I miss my applications in the spring? And I thought maybe I did something wrong, or I got a bad batch of pre-emergent. Well, apparently it's not just me. Apparently poana is really, really bad this year because of how wet our winter was.
And apparently it is a big problem for a lot of people, especially golf courses around the Southeast and of course here in the Upstate, because of just how wet our winter was that really allowed that poana to really take root. So just going to have to wait until that burns off. Anyway, there you go. If your yard looks bad, understand it's probably not your fault this year because of the poana. We'll be right back. This is the Charlie James Show. News Talk 98.9 WORD, the voice of the Carolinas.
the debt ceiling. I don't know about you guys, but when I got money issues, last thing I do is look for my credit card limit to be increased. I start cutting spending. Joining us right now is Congressman Jeff Duncan. Representative Duncan, welcome to the program. How are you, sir?
Great, Charlie. It's great to be at 8.9 WORD this afternoon with you.
I appreciate it. So let's talk about this debt ceiling vote. And again, like I said, most Americans, when, we have a budget that we have to stick to, and the last thing we want to do is really look for an increase in the amount of credit that we have. Why is it important that we pass this legislation?
Well, first of all, President Joe Biden and Chuck Schumer, the majority leader over in the Senate, he's the negotiating table with Kevin McCarthy, our Speaker of the House, to negotiate a debt ceiling increase or in general. I fought for 12 years, Charlie, to address our spending. You can't go and have your credit line increased if you're a small business without showing the bank how you're going to grow revenue and be able to pay the debt back. And we've asked the Congress, let's come up with a plan to actually address our spending addiction. And this ceiling increase that we passed over to the Senate last week is called the Limit, Save, and Grow Act. Limit government spending, save money, and grow the economy. Do things like we're supposed to do, empowering small businesses, large businesses, entrepreneurs, innovators across America, and not continue to grow government as we see the administration continue to do. So this was the first step. Yeah, I would have done a lot more had I been in control, but we also have a Republican conference that it is conservative as me and you, or even the South Carolina delegation for that matter.
Right.
So this was a good start, and it is a good start to the negotiations.
So, and again, how far back? Because wasn't McCarthy talking about taking it back to what, 2002 spending levels?
2022 spending levels.
Oh, okay.
And then institute growth cap of 1% annually, and estimates about $3.6 trillion in savings over the next 10 years. But it does a lot more than that. It makes sure we fund our national defense. It does not cut Medicare, Social Security, protects veterans benefits. It reclaims unspent COVID funds. It defunds Biden's IRS Army, which we saw him grow. It repeals a lot of the Green New Deal tax credits and then misnamed Inflation Reduction Act. It does away with Biden's student loan forgiveness. So a lot of good things, good policies there, including a lot of energy stuff that was in H.R. 1, like pipeline permitting reform.
So, but this was something that Biden did not seem to want to negotiate on, right?
He didn't want to negotiate on anything. They want a clean debt ceiling or give him a clean debt ceiling increase. Like you said, we've got to have the reform necessary to change the trajectory and rein in government spending. They spend like drunken sailors up there in Washington, and we continue to fight with a good start.
And when we talk about the amount of money that they're spending, I mean, it just seems like they're making number amounts up now. I mean, we've got there was money that is being spent to teach or to promote transgender makeup artists in Nepal. There was one $500,000 to teach English to transgender teachers to transgender students in Pakistan. I mean, this is the kind of money when the American people hear what we're spending, and this is probably just scratching the surface. We're wondering what the heck our government is doing.
Well, over $100 billion given to Ukraine. Some of that was military aid and equipment. I agree with that. I don't agree with giving money to Ukraine that has no guardrails or accountability or oversight. And about 40 to 50 billion of that was just cash that was given with no accountability to Congress on how that money was going to be spent. So, we see so many things across the globe, like the Department of using transgenders to recruit new soldiers. It's just ridiculous. So we're going to keep pushing back. Keep in mind, Republicans just have the House of Representatives. The Senate's still there. The Senate is controlled by Democrats by a real slim margin, and of the Democratic House. So, we just got to keep fighting if we can.
Yeah, we can't. Are you still there?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you. So let's go into these vaccine mandates that are about to expire, because, I mean, we've had Djokovic was trying to come in and play tennis at the U.S. Open. He couldn't because he's not vaccinated. I think it's long past time for these mandates to go away, right?
Oh, there's no doubt. And the administration reached out and picked a May 11th date as the end of the COVID emergency. The reason they did that, I believe, is because most state legislatures will have finished their session by then. So hopefully, according to the Biden administration, hopefully the states have spent all that COVID money. We're trying to claw a lot of that money back. It's unspent COVID funds and put it back in the Treasury. Is not spent. But one thing I've been fighting hard for is to end the COVID mandate for healthcare workers. We have assisted living facilities and hospitals where the healthcare workers continue to have to wear masks, gowns, continue to be fully vaccinated, all this, and it's ridiculous. I just got back from Europe. We visited 3 countries over there, never heard anything about COVID the whole time we were there. COVID's over in Europe. COVID ought to be over in the United States of America.
How much of and you got to admit, they did use this as a tool in the last election. Do you think they're going to use it again?
It won't be this. They'll try to use AI or some other emergency, I'm sure. They tried with monkeypox. That really didn't catch on. We have to watch these Democrats and the very progressive liberals that, want big government, want to control every facet of our life from cradle to grave. And conservatives don't believe that. We believe in smaller government, individual freedom and liberties, and empowering Americans to do what we do best, and that's innovate and prosper without government control.
We're talking with Representative Jeff Duncan. You said you just got back from overseas. How is America's reputation right now?
Well, actually, it's pretty good in Eastern Europe and Czech Republic and Poland. They're looking to the West for energy sources. They still believe in us. They're worried. They had an energy reality check and that they were relying on Putin's oligarch for their natural gas. They totally are off of that now. They're looking to build more nuclear power over there, small modular reactors, and they're looking west for American LNG that we need to export. We can produce here. It's cleaner burning. It helps get our emissions down in this country and can help globally with that. But at the end of the day, it's a stable, reliable, friendly source of energy for countries in Europe that need to lessen and end their dependence on Vladimir Putin and Russia. And they had a reality check. So we're seeing it play out. But you go into Germany, where they took 2 reactors offline the Sunday we were there. They're still burning coal down in the south where their manufacturing is because all their renewables are up in the north. They can't get it transmitted to where the renewable energy could be used. So they have a reality check. They have to have energy. They're providing baseload energy with coal. And Germany was a leader in this whole, global climate change initiative and lowering emissions, but yet they're burning coal because they know they need the energy. And we see Repower EU, which is an initiative through the European Union to push more renewables. Charlie, I was in 3 countries. I saw 5 total electric vehicles on the roads in Europe.
Wow.
But we see the Biden administration continuing to push us, European Union continuing to push Europe toward more EVs and more renewables, but yet it's hypocritical in so many ways.
You're right. It seems like Donald Trump warned them that all of this was going to happen. So a quick question before we let you go. Have you seen any of these, any of the reports about the documents of Joe Biden and Hunter Biden and what's going on with the Biden family?
Well, it just shows the FBI is in cahoots with the administration to help get Joe Biden elected and continue to shield him and Hunter Biden with his laptop. They've had the laptop. They know what's on it. They now have this supposed document that shows the corruption of Joe Biden as vice president, the selling influence that benefited him and his family personally. And if the document exists, hopefully we can get our hands on it. Chances are the White House is going to classify that document, and we won't be able to. But I know Chuck Grassley and Jamie Comer, our chairman of OGR, Oversight and Governmental Reforms, they're going after everything they can at every avenue, whether it's Hunter Biden's laptop, this document, or other the corrupt officials that have been shilling for Joe Biden and his family that have prospered off selling influence.
Yeah, meanwhile, they're going after Clarence Thomas. Representative Jeff Duncan, always a pleasure to talk to you, sir. We appreciate it. We'll talk to you again soon. Thank you.
Sure. Charlie, thanks so much.
Take care. We'll be right back. This is the Charlie James Show, News Talk 98.9 WORD, the voice of the Carolinas.
Honest views, trusted news.
WORD.
The voice of the Carolinas.
So we saw what happened with Bud Light. We knew what happened with those folks because they put out this can and they're crying now. You see, they're really feeling the heat because what they did is they abandoned their base. They abandoned their base and they hired a biological male who masquerades as a female to be a paid endorser for Bud Light. And they have really gotten kicked right square in the jewels. And they did it themselves. Okay. Well, now they're screaming. Now they're crying about it was only one can. It was only one can. We just didn't mean hardly anybody. Well, you get what you get. Okay. You get what you get. So now they're actually disavowing Dylan Mulvaney. It wasn't a campaign. They say, oh, it wasn't a campaign. It was just one can. Sales have crashed 26%. 26%. And when that happens, what Buford T. Justice say in Smokey and the Bandit? That's an attention getter. That's exactly what that is. Global boss Michael Ducaris is crying about all the misinformation that is spread on. So it's not misinformation. We just gave the information. You thought it was going to blow over. You thought it was going to be no big deal to put a drag queen, really more than that, a biological male who is now living as a woman, on one of your cans, even if it was just one. You paid this person to be your spokesman, spokesperson, thing. Why? Because you wanted a reaction. You just don't like the reaction that you got. So now we've got that, and you would think the United States Navy would learn. Tom Cotton was on Fox News today talking about the Navy using a drag queen to attract new recruits.
What's going on here? Who only knows? But, Martha, the bottom line is that the Navy, like most of our services under President Biden, face a recruiting crisis. But using a drag queen ambassador is not a solution to that crisis, is an example of a major cause of the crisis. Young Americans join the military because they want to serve our nation and they're patriotic and they want to feel camaraderie and they want excitement and adventure. They join to become warriors. They don't join to become social justice warriors. And a video like this or an initiative like this in recruiting a drag queen ambassador is only likely to worsen our recruiting crisis, not help resolve it.
And he's exactly right. He's exactly right. Whoever greenlit that campaign should be, they probably weren't in the military. They probably hired an advertising agency to come in because, we got some really cool ideas. Oh, you're in the Navy. Oh, I've got some really cool ideas and some junk. I got an idea. We'll get a drag queen, and Z will be the spokes zing for the Navy. And then all kinds of people will be like, oh, wow, OMG, I so want to be in the Navy. Oh, my goodness. Didn't work. Not going to work. Should have looked at Bud Light as an example. And Skittles, you should do the same thing. Skittles has unveiled its limited edition 2023 Pride Packs as a special first look at its 2023 Pride program. The packs will swap the brand's signature rainbow for original designs by artists within the LGBTQ+ community. Oh, $1 from each pack sold up to $100,000 will go to GLAAD in support of the organization's ongoing efforts to work through media to support and increase visibility for the LGBTQ+ community. More details on the full 2023 Pride program will be shared just ahead of June, which is isn't that Pride Month or something? Which will include several exciting partnerships and collaborations to support and uplift the LGBTQ plus community. For the second year, Skittles has partnered with LGBTQ artists. Okay, let's see how that works for you. Let's see. No. Go ahead. Go ahead. Do it. Do it. Let's just see how it works. Okay? No, fine. Go ahead. Navy, you want a drag queen as your spokesperson? Go ahead. Let's see how it works. Somebody might want to pick up the phone and call the folks at Bud Light. Just saying. Hey, yeah, Bud Light. Yeah, hey. No, we're doing good. Yeah, look, that thing with Dylan Mulvaney, how'd that work out for you? Huh? Why are you crying? What's the matter? You okay? No, really, what's wrong? Dude, what's happening? Ask Bud Light. That ought to be. You remember Snickers? And they came out and they were like, they had that one person, there was a monster, and then they ate a Snickers and they were fine. It ought to be a new campaign. Hey, are you thinking about making a really bad decision? Ask Bud Light. We'll be right back. Oh, hopefully coming up in just a matter of minutes, we're going to be talking about my buddy Chris Plant, who's got a brand new show coming up on Newsmax. You don't want to miss this. Hopefully we can catch him just in time. It's the Charlie James Show. News Talk 98.9 WORD, the voice of the Carolinas.
News Talk 98.9 WORD, the voice of the Carolinas.
You know, I really love when good things happen to good people. It makes my heart happy. Makes my heart happy. And a good thing has happened to a friend of mine, and I'm tickled to death for the guy. I really, really am. Now, there's been, everybody's been talking about Fox and how they're dumping Fox and they don't want to watch Fox anymore because of what they did to Tucker Carlson. They're wondering how they're going to fill their evenings. Well, my buddy Chris Plant is a nationally syndicated radio talk show host. He is from WMAL in Washington, D.C. He has got a brand new gig over on Newsmax. And it's going to debut Monday the 8th at 9 p.m. Eastern. And it's called Chris Plant, The Right Squad. And it's going to be awesome. I guarantee you that. It was a Prime News host who is there in that slot right now. Jen Pellegrino is actually going to be a member of Chris's panel-based show. They're going to put Chris Plant, like I said, from WMAL in Washington, D.C., and Pellegrino with a rotating panel of guests to form the right squad. And that is pretty cool. Chris Plant said, "I'm absolutely thrilled to be joining the outstanding team at Newsmax and getting to work on a great show dedicated to carving through the fluff to get to the unfiltered truth. And whoever it was that said you can't get the occasional laugh out of today's crazy news obviously did not know me." Chris is hilarious. He really, really is. He's a funny, funny guy. He's an award-winning journalist, fact-based news and opinion. And, of course, he always keeps the conversation very fun and interesting. So looking forward to seeing that because I'm telling you what, Tim, I want to tell you a little Chris Plant story. All right.
All right.
Just to let you know. So my wife and I were in Washington, D.C.
Uh-huh.
And Chris is like, "Hey, why don't you come have dinner? I know this great little restaurant, and you guys come up and we'll have a lovely, lovely night."
Right.
So my wife and I, we go meet him. And by the way, he said the restaurant is about 15 minutes from the metro station. Okay. Now, I was in Charleston at the time.
Mm-hmm.
A 15-minute walk is nothing in Charleston, South Carolina. It's easy.
Yeah, and it's nice out there.
You go to Washington, D.C., a 15-minute walk is a mountain climb.
It could take you 2 hours.
The hills, we're sweating, and we're like, oh, and my wife is like, "I did not wear the right shoes for this." And I was like, "Oh, I know, this is horrible."
Yeah,
so we get to this restaurant, and we're having dinner with Chris. And the owner, and there was a guy that comes in, and he sits at the table right across from us. And the guy orders these flash-fried anchovies.
Ooh.
Right? So
flash-fried anchovies.
Flash-fried anchovies. And the waiter comes out and he puts it on the guy's table there. And then the owner sees Chris and he comes out and he's like, "Hey, Chris, how you doing?" It's a very Italian guy. "Hey, how you doing? Hey, everything's good." And Chris is like, "Hey, yeah, and Chris had pointed out the anchovies that the guy got and he said, "Those things are fantastic." And he looked at the owner and he said, "Hey, I was just telling my friends how good the anchovies are." So the owner of the restaurant reaches over, and if I'm lying, I'm dying, grabs the plate off the guy's table.
Oh, wow.
And says, "Hey, try these anchovies here." And the guy's like, "What?" And he's looking at the guys, and he's like, "Hell, everything's good." And the guy's like, "Try some of these anchovies here. They're fantastic." And, we feel kind of obligated to try one of the anchovies off this man's plate. And I thought,
did you try them?
Absolutely.
You did?
You can't not. You can't not try them because the owner of the restaurant just yanked them off some guy's plate and gave them to you. So we tried. We got one of these little anchovies, and we kind of give a nod to the guy whose table it was at previously.
Just relax. We'll make you more.
Just calm down. Yeah, everything's good. You don't want to be causing trouble in here. So we tried the anchovies, and sure enough, they were absolutely fantastic. And as my wife and I were leaving the restaurant, I looked at her and I said, "You know what that is? That's Chris Plant power. That's what that is. That's one day I'm going to have Chris Plant power. But it could not happen to a better guy. So you've got something really to look forward to coming up Monday night, May 8th at 9 o'clock. Chris Plant is going to be over on on Newsmax. Wildly entertaining. Wildly entertaining. You're really going to love that. All right, the GS Plumbing Talk Line, 800-905-0989. The Common Sense Retirement Planning text line, 71307. I would love to talk to you. Hey, Charlie, I will not watch Fox News ever again since Bongino and Carlson are gone. Now, the Bongino case, he made a statement, and he said this was just a contract. They could not come to terms on his contract. Now, that's what Bongino said, okay? That was him. Tucker Carlson, that seemed to be a completely different issue. Because apparently the woman that is now in charge of programming there at Fox News, apparently there was some sort of a dossier. They were compiling a dossier on Tucker Carlson. And they were getting all of these things that he had said and some of his text messages. Remember, because his text messages were actually subpoenaed by the January 6th Commission, right? And well, no, it wasn't the January. It was in the Dominion case. They actually subpoenaed a bunch of those text messages. And now, guess what? They got leaked. Oh, my goodness. Well, how did that happen? Well, we know how that happened. The Democrats leaked them, which is exactly what Democrats do all the time. And then they want to talk about national security and they want to talk about pride. They're not into any of that if it helps them. And one of the big objectives that the Democrat Party had, and, everybody on the left, was to get Tucker Carlson off the air. Because he was one of the few people that was speaking the truth night after night after night. So therefore, he was a danger to the Democrats. And we all know what happens when you're dangerous to the Democrats. Right, Jeffrey Epstein? We'll be right back. This is the Charlie James Show. News Talk 98.9 WORD, the voice of the Carolinas.
9 WORD.
The voice of the Carolinas.
Coming up in just a few minutes, we're going to be talking with Larry Behrens, because there's a thing out there that the Democrats want to implement called No Mow May. And No Mow May is something where you don't use your lawnmower in the month of May. They want you to just let your grass grow as tall as an elephant's eye. That's what they want to do, all in the name of climate science and the ridiculousness of the left has gone so far past being ridiculous. Now they're trying to interfere with your lifestyle. That's what they want to do. They would rather see your yard filled with weeds, bare patches, eaten up with bugs, mosquitoes and snakes and everything else that hangs out in tall grass, rats, mice, everything, rather than you actually take a lawnmower and cut your grass. That's what they would like to do. They do not care. They do not care because they want to destroy your lifestyle. Right? They want you to destroy your lifestyle. Everything about your life. They can't stand your lifestyle. And they want to do away with it. They want to do away with it. And I don't know why. I really don't. I mean, are they jealous? Obviously, they're jealous in some way. But this whole ideology is totally ridiculous for these guys. It's infuriating.
Chris Plant is on
It really is infuriating right now. And these are some of the things that I'm pretty sure that my buddy Chris Plant is going to be talking about on his brand new show on Newsmax. He's joining us right now. Chris, buddy, how are you, my friend?
All right, Charlie, my man. What do you say? What's going on with you?
Well, this is it. I mean, I read about. By the way, I told the flash fried anchovy stories when you and my wife and I joined you for dinner that night, and the owner of the restaurant took it off that guy's table, and was like, "Here, eat." I said, "That's Chris Plant power right there, darling. That's what you get." But you got a brand new show on Newsmax. How did all this come about?
Well, it's impossible to say. You know, I met Christopher Ruddy, who's the big boss at Newsmax, and we got to talking, and that was actually more than a couple of years ago that we started talking, and over time, one thing led to another, and you know, honestly, the Wuhan Red Death came along, and everybody's life changed, and I was. You know, happily doing my radio show here in Washington and on, you know, on Westwood One across the country and TV. You know, I think Newsmax is kind of the place to be these days. They're the future, and you know, Fox News is dying of autoerotic asphyxiation in a closet.
That's right.
So I decided that Newsmax was the way to go, and you know, give me something to do with myself.
Exactly, because you've got so much free time on your hands. But this isn't your first foray into television, is it?
No, it's no, not by a long shot. No, I was with CNN for 17 years. Don't hold it against me, though. Back then, it was at least part news organization, and I was at the Pentagon. I was most of the time I was an assignment editor and a producer, and at the end of my time at CNN, I did go on the air as a reporter from the Pentagon. You know, Iraq stuff, 2004, 2005, and then I left CNN twice because it became embarrassing to work for CNN when you're out in Washington and people say, "What do you do?" Which is always the second question, right?
Right.
I started making stuff up and saying, "Well, I sell small arms in Africa. What do you do?" And I discovered that when I started making things up, it was probably time to go find something else to do.
Yeah, when your job is an embarrassment.
And then where did you go?
That's right. Well, honestly, I had nowhere to go when I left CNN. I just wanted to leave so much, and I left voluntarily.
Mm-hmm.
I took a job with some friends, some Green Beret friends who were working for a Beltway bandit company. I took a job doing information operations in Iraq.
Wow.
For the Special Operations Command, and at the special, in Tampa. And that blew up because of a New York Times article where they created a fake scandal that was all lies, all lies. Then I found myself wondering what I was going to do next. And I ran into Chris Berry. I think you know Chris Berry.
Yeah.
He was the boss at WMAL in Washington. And he said, how'd you like to do a radio show? And, that was 17 years ago. So I jumped into radio, and I've been having a riot ever since, right? I mean, it's just nothing but fun doing radio. Right?
You're exactly right. Nothing but fun. So you're going to be joining Jen Pellegrino on the show. She's going to be kind of like your regular host, and it's called Chris Plant, The Right Squad. How many members of the squad are you going to have? Now, we're not talking about you're not going to have AOC and Ayanna Presley on there with you, are you?
No, just normal people. And we're going to have it's me and Jen Pellegrino, as you said,
Mm-hmm.
who is an anchor at Newsmax and has a long and illustrious history before coming to Newsmax. And then it looks like Mercedes Schlapp is going to be a regular, and then a rotating cast from there. But it's there will likely be one identifiable lib every day. That can be any reporter from Washington, right?
Yeah.
And maybe a Democrat political type, because you got to have somebody to torture. I think is the I kid. We won't torture them, but it's 5 people at the table. Me, Jen, plus 3, and we'll flog the news of the day, and spend a certain amount of time making fun of it too.
Absolutely. And of course, you've got to sit here and say, a lot of people have been wondering how they were going to fill their nights now that Tucker Carlson has left Fox News. Give me your opinion, your reaction to that story.
Well, it's again, I think that Fox News is making a lot of bad decisions. They got rid of Glenn Beck when he was at the peak of his game and his ratings were at peak. They got rid of Bill O'Reilly when he was at the peak of his game. And it sounds like the Murdoch family and, maybe the Lachlan Murdoch, who is kind of running the business, and even the old man, for some reason, have decided they had this lawsuit, right? And, the text messages are so embarrassing.
Right.
I want Trump to sue MSNBC and CNN just to get all their text messages. I don't care about the rest. I just want to see their text messages.
Exactly.
But it looks like, the Murdochs made a decision that Tucker was his ratings were too high and he was too controversial, apparently, and they let him go. And it's the old. It's got to be an Arab saying, "Cutting off their nose to spite their face."
Yeah,
it seems to me. And Tucker will be fine. He can start his own network and do better than Fox if he wants. You saw that he posted a 2-minute, 15-second video, and in like 2.5 days, it got 75 million views. So don't cry for him, Argentina.
That's right.
He'll be fine.
Yeah,
but Fox News, it's funny. I've been watching a lot less Fox News. I didn't realize what a magnet the Tucker Carlson show was to watch, to bring you in to watch earlier shows. And I never watched a lot of Hannity, but, I've been watching a lot less Fox News and a lot more Newsmax.
Yeah. And I think everybody should. Hey, buddy, I wish you nothing but the best of success, man. I'm so happy for you. I'm so proud of you. You've done such a great job. We're really looking forward to great things from you, pal.
Well, thank you very kindly. I appreciate that. It's really great to hear your voice. And
you too.
Thank you very much for asking me to come on with you.
Glad to do it. Next time we're in D.C., we're certainly going to look you up. Thank you, buddy.
Definitely do. Friday anchovies, baby.
You got it, pal. All right, we'll be right back. This is the Charlie James Show, News Talk 98.9 WORD, the voice of the Carolinas.
Let your voice be heard. Call the GS Plumbing Talk Line now. 800-905-0989. Save it on your phone. That's 800-905-0989.
This is the Charlie James Show, only on News Talk 98.9 WORD.
The voice of the Carolinas.
No Mow May is what they're calling it. They don't want you to cut your grass this month. But of course, always they're going to, make this sound like they're going to wrap it up in pretty wrapping paper and say, this is for the pollinators. We're just trying to help the pollinators. Now, I think there's a little more to it. Joining us right now is Larry Behrens. He's with Power of the Future. Larry, welcome to the program. How you doing, buddy?
I'm doing great, Charlie. Thanks for having me today, man.
No Mow May. They want your grass as high as the elephant's eye by the end of the month, don't they?
They absolutely do, but it's okay. We're all just trying to save the bees. They say our lawns are terrible, right? Because they use so much water and we put so much chemicals on them, but yet I guess they're good enough to feed the bees as long as we don't mow them. No, you're absolutely right. It is a little more sinister than that. They don't like our lawns. They don't like anything really about middle American life in the United States.
And this is the thing. See, they always, if they're good at nothing else, they're good at incrementalism. Right?
They absolutely are.
Let's start with No Mow May, and then we'll have, No Mow November and things like that. But it's not really about the pollinators, is it?
It's not. It's not about the pollinators. It's about them trying to inch themselves into every part of our lives. We've seen New York now ban gas stoves after we were super pinky promised that they wouldn't. They are passing mandates so that we all have to be driving around glorified golf carts here in the next 10 years or so. And so, they've decided this No Mow May is something that they can come after the lawn. And also 100 municipalities across the United States have decided that gas-powered yard equipment, mowers, weed eaters, those aren't good enough either. And so, in California, you can, I guess, use all the water chemicals you want to grow marijuana and smoke it, but you can't use any gas-powered mowers to take care of your lawn.
You said 100 communities
I
have
know.
banned gas lawnmowers?
Yes, they're putting them on there because for various reasons, just like the No Mow May, they come down with like, oh, well, it's loud. Oh, well, gosh darn, it just doesn't work out for, what we really need in our community. And when I say communities, I don't think it's just, little Hippiesville of California. In some cases, it's Dallas. And the whole state of California is said, starting in January, they're not selling any more gas-powered lawn equipment in California. And that's what, we see happening. When you step back and you take a look across the country, you see, okay, they're banning gas-powered yard equipment in California. New York is now banning gas stoves starting, in 4 years or so. And you start to see that like each of these little groups and each of these little sinister things is really just them trying to outdo themselves towards this leftist green agenda that is just reaching into every part of our lives right now.
But it's never going to end. One of my texters says, next it'll be no charge Wednesday for electric cars. Right?
It will be. And California celebrates that by just cutting off all your electricity in a blackout. So that's how they celebrate that. You're absolutely right. It is no coincidence that every solution, and I use the term very loosely, every solution brought by the environmental left just so happens to give government more control over our lives. You can't buy this. You must buy that. You can't use this during this time of day. You must use this and not that. It is, central planning that a lot of communists would really love.
Oh, absolutely. The exchange between Senator Kennedy and the Deputy Secretary of Energy the other day, where he was grilling him on how much $50 trillion would reduce the temperature of the earth, he had no answer.
Well, because that's not how they judge anything, right? They never judge it by results, because if they had to judge it by the results, they'd have to, live up to the fact that they caused the highest gas prices we've ever seen in the history of the country, the highest inflation that many of us seen in our life. And so instead they're going to judge it by, look at how much of the taxpayer dollars we're spending. Don't look at the results, just look at how much money we're spending, because it's never going to be enough. Joe Biden had $90 billion to spend in 2008 as part of the stimulus. President Obama put him in charge of that because that was going to fix the climate. Now Fast forward to 2022, last fall, they had to pass the Inflation Reduction Act because, gosh darn it, I guess that last $90 billion wasn't enough. I mean, it's almost like a teenager. You want to walk up to President Biden and say, "What did you do with the last $90 billion I gave you?"
Yeah, we just gave you so much. You didn't spend that all in one place, did you? So I'm going, Larry. I'm actually going to celebrate Mo November when I get off the air tonight. I'm going to go out and I'm going to cut my backyard. So I think everybody ought to do that. But again, even the CEO of Toyota said that we do not have the energy infrastructure in this country to handle everybody driving an electric vehicle. Why is it so important for them?
Well, because I don't know. I call it hippieism 3.0. You know, the 1.0 or the 60s are like, listen, we're just going to go off and live our lives and just leave us alone, leave us be. And then 2.0 was like, hey, listen, we're just living our lives. And if you want to join us, that's great too, because it's good for the earth. And now 3.0 is no, you must comply with how we're doing and how we're demanding things. The agenda comes before all else. It doesn't matter how much it hurts working families. It doesn't matter how many jobs it kills, because when you're part of the climate cult, the ends always justify the means.
You're right. Give me a 1968 hippie over a modern day liberal anytime. Am I right? What happened to those people?
They drive Volkswagen Beetles, by the way, and they were perfectly happy.
That's right. They were in their little Volkswagen microbus with daisies on it, and everything was fine. Hey, I want you to read his op-ed at Real Clear Energy. His name is Larry Behrens, and he's a great guy. I appreciate it, Larry. Thanks for joining us this afternoon.
Oh, great to talk with you, Charlie. Have a great day.
Take care. Bye-bye. Yeah, I'm going to do that. So as soon as I get off the air tonight, going to give me a little bite to eat, and I'm out in the backyard celebrating Mo November. But this whole, but it's for the bit. See, they always wrap it up. Please do not fall for anything that the left does. Please never fall for their ruse. Charlie, I'm already participating in No Mo January. Good for you. Good for you. Charlie, follow the money. It's all about the investment in by government in batteries. And who's making the batteries? Think about this for a second. Who's making the batteries? China. China's making the batteries. China's making the batteries. So we're investing in them. Charlie, did I say November? Did I say November? Well, that's what they're going to do. They're going to go from no mo May to no mo November, no mo December, and that's just what they're going to do. Charlie, more mo May. I'm with you, Charlie. As soon as I get home, when I get off today, I'm going to cut my grass along with you. I think I may just do it every day for the rest of the month, huh? You see, because I've got a Bermuda lawn, and ideally, a Bermuda lawn should be cut 3 times a week. 3 times. Bermuda loves to be cut. It really does. It'll grow nice and thick and lush. Unfortunately, this talk show host is just a little too lazy to cut it 3 times a week. Hey, Charlie, how about no mo Biden? Now that I can get behind. Let's go to Phil in Central and talk to him this afternoon. Phil, welcome to the program. How are you?
Good. How are you?
Fantastic. What's up?
I just got a question.
Yeah.
If I have a bunch of electric battery operated stuff, am I allowed to cut my lawn?
See, they're claiming it's not about the gas. They're claiming it's not about that. They're claiming it's so that you will have dandelions growing in your yard and the bees will be attracted and the pollinators will come to those flowers. That's the way they're wrapping it up.
What about my nice fruit trees and big trees and everything that I got?
Well, I think you're pollen neutral. You know how they say carbon neutral? So your lawn is pollen neutral. There you go. That's good. Well, Phil, I appreciate it. You get out there and you enjoy more Mo May. We'll be right back. This is the Charlie James Show. News Talk 98.9 WORD, the voice of the Carolinas.
Pulse Retirement Planning text line at 71307.
This is the Charlie James Show
On News Talk 98.9 WORD.
The voice of the Carolinas.
Happy Thursday to you. Hope you guys are just having a fantastic one. Listen to this. This is pretty cool. And again, I'm sitting here, I'm going, hey, I'm getting a little tired of other states making us jealous of them. Well, Florida has done it again. Way to go, Florida. You got to admit, Governor Ron DeSantis, and it's not just him, though. All right, he gets a lot of credit, but also that state legislature down there, man, those guys and ladies, they are on the ball. The Florida State Senate has passed a bill that would abolish diversity, equity, and inclusion bureaucracies at all public universities statewide. Oh, how glorious. Good for you guys. Man, wouldn't it be nice? Wouldn't it be nice if we had a really conservative state legislature? That would be so cool. Instead of the purple one that we got right now. Yeah, the ones that we go, where are you from? Somewhere along. I'm sorry, where? I'm sorry, where? South Carolina. Oh, you're that purple state. Yeah, that's right. Purple state. Anyway, there you go. The biddies over at The View, we haven't talked about them in a while, but listen to this. They are now saying that there is no such thing as Antifa. Yep, you heard me right.
I do want to push back a little bit on Antifa. I mean, FBI Director Christopher Wray called them an extremist group. He called them anarchists and congressional
but
testimony.
But they're not always organized.
I agree. They're not organized.
No one has found Antifa. We've heard a lot about Antifa.
I mean, they have websites. They have recruiting online.
No one has found Antifa. No one has found Antifa. I thought it was a kitty cat. Antifa's a kitty cat. That's what it is. Antifa. They keep saying they're not organized. They keep saying that. Antifa's not organized. I mean, even Joe Biden in the debate with Donald Trump said Antifa was just an idea. But they are organized. That's the thing. You cannot get that many people all dressed in the same clothes doing the same thing if they're not organized. And just because you don't know how they're organized doesn't mean they're not organized. Oh, trust me, they are organized. And Tim, we talked last night about the dark web. When did last night? Maybe the night before, about the dark web. I think Antifa and other organizations like this are using the dark web to organize.
Oh yeah, 100%.
It's not that these things just, hey, what are you wearing to the protest tonight? Well, do these knee pads look all right? Yeah, and I got these shin guards to match. Oh, yeah. Oh, what do you think about this bulletproof vest I got, this body armor? That looks pretty cool. Don't forget your black mask. You know me. I always forget that. That's just, they are organized. But again, it's just for the simple fact that they don't have and some of them do. All you got to do is look on Twitter. There are Antifa organizations that have Twitter pages. So how is that not organized? This is all just BS talking points that they have in order to make you think that Antifa is not really a thing when it actually is a thing. It really, really is. So there's Antifa organizations all over the country. And some of them, here's New York City. And oh, no, they're not organized. But there it is. New York City, Antifa. They are organized. North London, Antifa. Several Antifa organizations there. They have chapters. And they have a leader. I don't know who this leader is. I don't know how they communicate. They've even got an Antifa International. So how can they have all of these organizations if they're not organized? I mean, organize is the root word of organization, right? There's New York City Antifa. Yeah, Antifa this, Antifa that, all over Twitter. You can look it up everywhere. So this is just denialism, if that's a word, by Whoopi Goldberg. And oh no, I agree with they're not organized. No, they aren't. They are organized. Stop it. This is the same. You know what this reminds me of? You know what? We'll take a break here, and when we get back, I'll tell you exactly what this is like. Two big glaring instances of what this is like. We'll be right back. This is the Charlie James Show. News Talk 98.9 WORD, the voice of the Carolinas.
from high atop Hogback Mountain.
We're covering the Carolinas like never before with 100,000 watts of power. It's the right talk. Charlie. Welcome. This is the Charlie James Show.
Now we're talking.
News Talk 98.9.
WORD.
The voice of the Carolinas.
Tim, coming up in just a second, we got something that you're not going to believe. You are not going to believe the story that we're going to be talking about in just a second. We'll get to that in just a second.
Okay.
And it has to do with something that we talked about last night.
All right.
Okay. So just put a place marker there, then we'll get back to that in a second.
Right on.
But Whoopi Goldberg
Is saying that Antifa is just an idea. That's all it is. Antifa's just an idea. They're not even organized. It's not even.
Do you know what that reminds me of? It reminds me of the FBI telling people in public that there was no such thing as La Cosa Nostra, the mafia. Oh, there's no such thing. People, there's no such thing as the mafia. Calm down. There's no such thing as La Cosa Nostra. It's just an idea. That's all it is. It's just an idea. And they said that for years because they didn't want people to think that there was a group of people out there who had gotten together and had a crime syndicate. Same exact thing that Whoopi Goldberg and the people on the left are doing right now. There's no such thing as Antifa. It's just an idea. Don't worry about it. We have got this under control. You don't need to worry about it. They're lying to you. Whoopi Goldberg is lying to you. Everybody on The View is lying to you, including that, Allison Farah, who masquerades as a Republican. What is she? She is transpolitical. She's a Democrat pretending to be a conservative on a Democrat show. That's what she is. She is a transpolitical person. But it also reminds me of something that happened down in Richland and Lexington County. Now, for years, they were telling us, because I worked down there for a long time, for years they were saying, we do not have gang activity in Columbia. There are no gangs in Columbia. We don't have gangs in Columbia. You can stop saying that because it's just not true. Well, what about the graffiti? That's local artist. That's not what you think it is. That's got nothing to do with the Bloods and the Crips. There is no gang activity in Columbia. And then at the state fair, a teenage kid got shot and killed in a gang initiation. And then they had to come out and admit what everybody had known, what everybody was saying, that there was gang activity in Columbia. They had to. They were forced to. They didn't want to, but they were forced to. And the same thing is going on with Antifa. They're trying to hide that this is an organized crime unit, a cohesive unit full of people who are hell-bent on causing mayhem and destruction. Andy No is a journalist. He has been following this. Read some of his stuff on what's going on with Antifa. Okay? So, Tim, what did we talk about pretty much at length the last? Oh, by the way, question, did you go home and try the computer program on your computer?
I did not have a chance to, but I'm going to do it.
Don't blame you.
Really soon.
Don't blame you. You get home, you get busy, you got the family. I don't blame you for that. So in case you folks forgot, Tim asked ChatGPT to write a video game program.
Well, no, I Googled it. I haven't asked GPT yet. I'm going to.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
And he's going to try to see if this thing will run, because we asked the question last night if ChatGPT could write code. And a lot of people were saying, oh, absolutely. It's probably an expert.
I want to put it to the test.
Probably an expert at writing codes. Hey, listen to this. Charlie, please let your listener know that the website of Just an Idea takes you to the White House website. Try it. Antifa.com. Tim, go to Antifa.com, www.antifa.com, and tell me what pops up.
All right. Antifa.com is loading. And yep, the White House.
The White
Whitehouse.gov.
So damn if it isn't an organized crime network.
Yep, whitehouse.gov.
There it is. How about that? And there's the head of the organized crime network, Joe Biden and Jill Biden and some other folks there. So yeah. I mean, that's pretty accurate. Good job.
Yeah.
Charlie, if they're not organized, who put out the pallet of bricks during the riots? Exactly. So yes, they are organized. So Tim was looking at having ChatGPT write some code, right? And we talked about how dangerous that artificial intelligence can be. In fact, artificial intelligence mimicked a young man's voice, and they were trying to extort money from this kid's grandfather. And right now, you can kind of tell if you're savvy. All right, now Tim, you and I were relatively savvy, right? I mean, we can look at a video and kind of tell if it's legit or not, right?
Yeah, and even some audio, you can kind of tell.
Yeah, kind of do that. But it's not always going to be that way.
Oh, yeah.
Artificial intelligence is going to keep getting stronger. It's going to keep getting more powerful. And ultimately, it's going to keep getting more dangerous. Agree with that?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Like, I'm worried for the future as far as, what can be faked.
You do not need to worry anymore.
Okay.
You don't need to worry anymore, because we have an AI czar here in this country now. An artificial intelligence czar. Joe Biden has put someone in charge of making sure that artificial intelligence is safe. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Kamala Harris.
Oh, goodness gracious.
I know, right? You couldn't ask if you asked AI to come up with a ridiculous story about artificial intelligence, this is what it would come up with. Okay. That's right. It happened today amid growing concerns over the advanced technology possibly replacing humanity someday. Joe Biden named Vice President Kamala Harris as AI czar in charge of a new initiative. Harris, who has the lowest approval rating of any modern vice president, will lead the initiative as AI czar with a $140 million budget, said the White House. Vice President Harris and senior administration officials will meet today with CEOs of 4 American companies at the forefront of AI innovation. Harris is meeting with Microsoft, OpenAI, Anthropic, and Google to discuss how potential risk involving AI can be reduced. Wow. AI is one of the most powerful technologies of our time, but in order to seize the opportunities it presents, we must first mitigate the risk, the Biden administration says. How long do you think before she screws this thing up?
Well, I mean, Microsoft and Google are the ones that are kind of leading the industry in AI, so I don't understand why
exactly.
You would do that.
They want to do it. Listen, she's going to handle this about as well as she's handled our border crisis, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, and by the way, Title 42 ends 1 week from today. We'll tell you about that coming up next. This is the Charlie James Show. News Talk 98.9 WORD, the voice of the Carolinas.
800-905-0989.
This is the Charlie James Show, only on News Talk 98.9 WORD.
The voice of the Carolinas.
Wasn't it Kamala Harris that was supposed to be our border czar? Wasn't Joe Biden? What he's going to do? She's going to cure all of the ills at our southern border. And then what did she do? She goes down to what they call the Southern Triangle, Northern Triangle, whatever it is, down there in Central and South America, stays at a 5-star hotel for a couple of nights and offers to give them more taxpayer dollars. That was the solution. That did it. Nothing else has been done. We gave foreign countries lots and lots of American dollars so that they could make their countries better and people would quit leaving. How well did that work? Not well at all. In fact, it didn't work at all, period. It just gave them tons of money. Your dollars going to Central and South America to improve their country. Meanwhile, 1 week from today, Title 42 is about to end. That means we will literally have no way of turning people away at the border. No way. So the Border Patrol Union has just listen to this. Under Joe Biden, 6.3 million known illegals have crossed our border. 6.3 million. 85,000 children have vanished. We don't know where they are. Oh, my word. The Border Patrol Union tweeted this out, and this is pretty harsh. Don't believe anything the White House says, the Border Patrol Union says. In the last 10 days, they've had 7,700 arrests per day. Title 42 hasn't ended yet, and it's only going to get worse. This is a 700% increase over a normal day during Obama and Trump. They go on to say, we have lying propagandists running this country and the Department of Homeland Security right now. And they are absolutely right. So what are they doing? Nothing. They're doing nothing about it. But it's not just Central and South America. Border Patrol agents are encountering people from India, China, Brazil, Turkey, Uzbekistan, Senegal, Afghanistan, Ethiopia, Somalia, and Egypt. So this isn't just the fathers, the mother, and the children coming to America for a better life. No. We are being invaded. If these people were all wearing the same uniform, the military would be throwing mortars. But because they're not, they're allowing it to happen. Imagine if an army of 6.3 million people crossed our border. What would you call that? I mean, we have had more people cross our border here in the United States illegally than Ukraine has. And we see what's going on over there. Yes, it's an invasion. 100%. And what are they doing about it? Nothing. Absolutely nothing. If this were a parade, it would be the biggest parade you've ever seen in your life. It would be absolutely massive. And it is massive. But unfortunately, these, again, this isn't a parade. This is the reality. And this is the people that are coming here looking for your money, your tax dollars, to go to them. That's what they want. Your tax money is going to be, oh, no, you don't have enough money. We don't have enough money to take care of American citizens. We don't have enough money to take care of homeless veterans. We don't have that. We got enough money to take care of illegal aliens, right? Yeah. According to them, we do. This is hideous. Charlie, what are you talking about? The border is secure. We have to have the military to help process the people. Voter drive is working better than could be contemplated. Oh, you're exactly right. This is, and what you are seeing is the largest voter drive in the history of humanity. That's what it is. Charlie, I really think the money that we gave to the South American countries was spent to gather people and send them to the border. That's what improves their lives. That's what improves their country. Not you might be right. Might absolutely be right. Good night. Somebody says, Charlie, drop them off at the White House. Oh, you can't do that. That's a political stunt. According to Karine Jean-Pierre, it's just a political stunt. Meanwhile, Brownsville, Texas, you can write. I'll bet you can't find a U-Haul in Brownsville, Texas right now. It will be almost impossible to find one within the next week because people being like, I'm out of here. There is going to be lawlessness. There's going to be poverty. That's exactly what it's going to have. So, pretty horrible. Pretty horrible. And this administration, Mayorkas is doing nothing about it, even though he's claiming that he is. We all know he's lying. We all know. These things, and Karine Jean-Pierre tried to get on the air the other day and say that immigration is going down. Please. Maybe legal immigration has been reduced, but illegal immigration, that's skyrocketing. And it's not going away anytime soon. And 1 week from today, all hell is going to break loose. And we've got nobody to blame but Joe Biden. Here is Karine Jean-Pierre, new haircut, same stupidity.
And, Title 42 is ending next week. How confident is the president that the fixes that he's put in place are going to hold, given that we're already seeing, strains in the system?
So let me first say that, look, as you know, we have been putting forth policies and programs for the past several months, heading into May 11th and understanding, right, that Title 42 is going to lift. And so you've heard from the Department of Homeland Security. You've heard from the State Department. They just held a press conference last week. And so we have laid out what the tools in our toolbox that the president is able to use to deal with this issue, to deal with the challenges that we're seeing at the border. And this is something that the president has been taking very seriously from the beginning of his administration. Yeah. And we have asked Congress to take action. We have asked Congress to meet us even halfway as we put forward a legislation on the first day of his administration, a comprehensive immigration piece of legislation. And we understand how important it is to modernize a broken system. So we take this seriously. We put our processes in place. I can say, as some of you are already following, that Secretary Mayorkas is at the border in Texas today with many of your colleagues to assess ongoing preparations for the return to Title VIII immigration processing, something that I spoke about today. They'll be visiting a processing center, a port of entry meeting with migrants and agents, and observing some of the removal flights that DHS is ramping up. Secretary Mayorkas is going to hold a press conference tomorrow at 2 p.m. So I would recommend or suggest a friendly suggestion to listen in on his press conference on the multi-agency comprehensive response that we're having today. And so I'll leave it there. Look, I
said nothing. All that to say nothing. Your policies have failed. Your administration has failed. You have failed this country. In fact, you have done more than that. You've turned this country into a failure. We'll be right back. This is the Charlie James Show. News Talk 98.9 WORD, the voice of the Carolinas.
Hit up Charlie on the Common Sense Retirement Planning text line.
It's 71307.
It's the Charlie James Show.
Talk 98.9 WORD, the voice of the Carolinas.
Welcome back to the program. Let's go to the GS Plumbing Talk line, 800-905-0989. We're going to be talking with Pat in Union. How you doing, Pat?
Hi, thanks for taking my call.
Yeah.
I'm sitting here watching the television. I see Biden and Chuck Schumer saying, if we don't pass this, the poor people are going to suffer. What are we doing now?
Yes.
That we aren't suffering.
Like that. Like poor people right now are real happy about it.
Yeah.
There.
I made 4 calls and I told them don't pass it.
It's a scare tactic to give Democrats more money.
By the time they rush that border, our food supply is going to drop. Our clean drinking water is going to drop. Our hospitals are going to fill up. The doctors are going to be busy. And we're going to have an amount of gangs that we will not be able to stop.
You're right. And they want to disarm us in the process.
My youngest son called me. He's in the military. He says there's dissension in the troops.
You're right. So, Pat, thank you so much for bringing that up, because this next story addresses exactly what you're talking about. I appreciate your phone call. Listen to this. Imagine this. You join the Army, you join the military, you do your hitch, and you are looking forward to getting out of the military, maybe starting a family, maybe starting a business, maybe going on to do, some sort of new career. And then all of a sudden the military comes in and they go, oh, yeah, about that. Yeah, we're going to need you to stay for 3 more years. What? That's exactly what's going on. A report has revealed that hundreds of Army aviation officers who were expecting to leave the military are going to be required to serve for another 3 years. Now, why is that? Is it their fault? Did they do something wrong? No. The Army, because of Joe Biden, because of this administration, because of General Milley and Secretary Austin, just like the Navy and the Air Force, have failed to meet recruiting numbers. In fact, they were short about 15,000, which is 25% of their goal as the fiscal year closes. So they're down 15,000. So what do they got to do? Yeah, you got to stay another 3 years. Just months before the NBC News report was published, the Army Times reported that the Army expected to end its 2022 fiscal year with 20,000 empty seats after reaching just 75% of their enrollment goals. According to the NBC News, here's the catch. Here's the real gotcha. Part of the Army aviation officer's contract was, quote unquote, reinterpreted. Oh, yeah. Oh, you thought you were going to leave. Yeah, well, about that. We reinterpreted your contract, and you got to stay another 3 years. What do you mean reinterpreted? When did that happen? Well, it's kind of happened. We didn't make a big deal out of it. No, they did it quietly. And it has caused an uproar among those impacted.
You get a caller.
Some of those officers say that they had plans, like I said, to start family, launch businesses, start their civilian lives, but no, not anymore. Per the report, Army officials are looking into the issue, which is related to a program known as BRADSO. Cadets commissioning from the U.S. Military Academy or Army Cadet Command from 2008 to 2020 were able to request a branch of their choice, including aviation, by agreeing to serve an additional 3 years on active duty. Okay? Even before this controversy and the end-year enlistment shortfall, Defense Department officials had been sounding alarm about low recruitment for months. It said that the complex web of factors has impacted recruiting. It's not complex. It's not complex. It's the commander-in-chief. That's what it is. Completely. It's not a complex web of factors. It's the fact that nobody wants to serve under Joe Biden. So now, here's what just happened. We just enacted the draft. They just took these military aviators and drafted their butts right back into the military when they were getting ready to leave. I don't know if this is something you can sue over. I don't know if you can sue the United States Army. I don't know if you can, or anything like that, but it damn sure needs to happen. And there needs to be some sort of another congressional investigation. Speaking of investigations, we'll talk about the Biden investigation coming up in just a second. I want to get to Phil in Central. Phil, how you doing, pal?
Hey, I'm good.
Yes,
Can
sir.
you hear me?
I can. Yes, sir. What's on your mind?
All right. So I was a recruiter in the Army.
Mm-hmm.
I called up earlier, and all right. So what happens is when you sign your contract, there's parts that say you are part of the inactive ready reserve, and they can bring you back for another 4 years.
Mm-hmm.
So if you sign up for a 2-year contract, you've actually signed up for an 8-year contract.
But why do you
It's an
call?
actual
But let me.
8-year
But
thing.
wait a minute. Why do you call up the reserves?
And the reserves are allowed to be deployed inside the continental United States.
Okay,
the
but
active duty Army is not allowed to be called up.
But when does
the
that
active
happen?
duty.
When does that happen?
In case the National Guard isn't around, the reserves also deploy. So does the National Guard. My father served 27 years.
But
in the
I
National
guess the
Guard.
question that I'm trying to get to is, how does this affect active duty military when there's not a natural disaster? It's only because they didn't meet their recruitment goals.
Because when you sign up, I had friends when I went to Iraq the first couple times that their contract was coming up, but they didn't meet recruitment goals. So they would call it stop loss. So they could stop their losses.
But whose fault?
And what they would do is force.
Whose fault is the stop loss?
It's the military.
Sure.
The recruiters. Like I said, I was a recruiter.
Yeah.
I never had a problem getting people in. You know, I tell them all sorts of stupid stories, make it seem fun.
Yeah.
But yeah.
You leave out the part about people shooting at you. Yeah, no, I get you, but a lot of people are extremely upset about this, and I think there's going to be some lawsuits flying.
That's the thing with the inactive ready reserve and them being, I believe, aviation, it's more than likely warrant officers.
But here's the thing. Let me ask you something.
Their college paid for.
When they say their contract was reinterpreted, what does that mean?
It means they pretty much enacted stop loss.
So they're basically they're lying when they say
what they're saying is you had an extra couple years that we can take on you because we paid for your college, we paid for all this stuff, we spent all this money on you, we need you for an extra couple years, and as a soldier, because you sign these contracts, you have no legal recourse.
But that's where I think this is going to get sticky, because they say they reinterpreted the contracts. So the agreement that you entered into with the United States military, the military has come along and said, yeah, that paragraph is not what we said it means. We reinterpreted that to mean something else.
Yes, but as a soldier, no matter soldier, Marine, Airman, when you sign that contract, you give up rights. You give up the right.
But you know what, the military...
I'm sorry, I hate to say it, but you do.
No, I know that. I understand that. But the military also has responsibilities. And one of those is to live up to their contract. and not come along and reinterpret them. It's the reinterpreting and doing it quietly that's got so many people upset. I appreciate it, Phil. Thank you so much for giving us a call this afternoon. We'll be right back. This is the Charlie James Show. News Talk 98.9 WORD, the voice of the Carolinas.
Plumbing Talk Line. Now 800-50989. Save it on your phone. That's 800-905-0989.
This is the Charlie James Show, only on News Talk 98.9 WORD.
The voice of the Carolinas.
All right, Tim. Last night you downloaded the Lose It app.
Yes, I did. Yes, I
did. And tell me
did.
about it. What's going on with you?
I'm doing really bad at it today.
Oh, my God. Why? Why are you doing bad?
I don't know. Maybe it's because I am setting a goal and the rebel in me is being like, no, you don't have to do that. Like the little devil that's inside that says, don't do this or don't do that or go do this, go do that. Yeah, it's messing with me, man.
Okay. There's a little life advice here for you. There are two pains. The pain of discipline.
Yep.
or the pain of regret?
Oh, yeah.
You choose the pain that is more important to you.
Yeah, and I agree with that. I do. And I'm going to get it.
And you're not, I mean, it's not like you're morbidly obese.
No.
I swear to you, I never thought I'd have the conversation on this side of the scale. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Never thought I'd have a conversation with somebody else. I was always the fat guy. I was always the fat guy at the station.
Well, you know what? You get to. Well, just because of all the hard work that you put in.
This is something that you want to do. It is wildly worth it. And when you start, and listen, set a goal weight. Do not set a goal date.
Okay.
See what I'm saying?
Right. Yeah.
Set a goal weight, not a goal date. Because if you set a goal date and you don't lose that weight, the first thing that's going to click in your head is, I have failed at this. Why should I keep trying? Trust the process.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm gonna do better. I just gotta get in the right mindset.
Yes, I was about to say that. When you decide that you're going to lose weight, it might not kick in for a week, but you got to trust the process. So, how bad did you blow it today? And remember, you didn't blow it. You didn't blow it.
I really don't know because I don't know exactly how
you didn't log
much,
everything down.
And I didn't log everything.
Do you have a kitchen scale to weigh food?
I do actually. Yes,
You need that. You need that definitely. Weigh everything. The biggest revelation to me in losing weight was realizing how little I could eat and not be hungry.
Let's see. My big problem is snack food.
Oh, yeah, that's hard.
Yeah.
Oh,
like just having
boy.
something to munch on, especially like while I'm here.
That's hard.
But I did good today. I didn't touch any of my snacks.
I used to have...
I have a whole stash in my car.
I used to have... So you got to get rid of that. I used to have 2 snacks a day, and now I've cut those out.
Right.
So
I'm bad about it when I get home, though.
But when it kicks in, it'll kick in. I am now down to, are you ready?
I'm ready.
200.6 pounds.
Oh, man, you're so close.
200.6. I am 0.7 of a pound away from being below 200. And I'm just going to sell up. Well,
we got to have a big party.
I'm going to and just gain 10 pounds while I'm at it there. But I got the vacation coming up.
Yeah.
And going to Scotland first, and then I'm going to head over to Ireland. And of course, going to be drinking some Guinness.
Yeah.
Going to be drinking some scotch.
Yeah,
going to be
watch that beer, man.
Going to be eating some haggis.
Haggis. You got to send me a picture.
I can't tell you I'm excited about. I am excited about that.
I love trying new food. So, yeah, be excited and definitely try new things.
I'm going to try the haggis. Going to try, I don't know what we're going to eat in Ireland. Apparently, Ireland has the reputation of having, ironically, really good Chinese food.
Oh, really?
Imagine that.
What about in China? Do you think that's better there than in China?
I don't think our idea of Chinese food is the Chinese idea of Chinese food.
Yeah, I
you know
agree
what I mean?
with that. Yeah,
it's probably not the same thing. I bet if you went into a restaurant in China, like an authentic Chinese restaurant, and you ordered orange chicken.
Shrimp lo mein.
Shrimp lo mein or something like that. I look at you like, who is this guy? Here,
stupid American.
here's a live squid. Eat it. So I don't know. Yeah, it would be stupid American. So
yeah.
Looking forward to that. Anyway, but yeah, I am 0.7 of a pound away from
God, close. So close.
I'm kind of excited. I am excited.
You should be, man.
Just to hit that goal.
Yeah,
Pretty amazing.
I'm proud of you. That's awesome.
So you got the app, and again, it's a really cool app.
It is really cool, and it does help, especially with somebody like me who needs organization. It helps you organize all that stuff.
It does. It really does.
Yeah.
If you eat, and I've said this for a long time, if you eat clean, and what I mean is you eat good quality proteins and vegetables.
See, I still do, but here lately I've been eating a lot of junk food.
Yeah, that's the killer. But if you eat good quality proteins and vegetables, it is almost impossible to overeat.
Right.
It really is. This person says, Charlie, tell Tim I'll make a deal with him. If he loses and sticks to his weight, I'll quit smoking. We do it together. If he doesn't, he doesn't know me. I don't know him, but we can support each other. We can both make that change. How about that?
Well, see, here's the thing is that I'm also trying to quit vaping. So I'm trying to do that first. And then because when you cut out the nicotine.
Okay. Let me just tell you about that.
you get hungry.
Do not do those two things together.
I know.
No.
I'm taking it one thing at a time.
Yeah.
But I appreciate that, Texas.
Don't do those two things together. You were just setting yourself up for nights of cold sweats.
Yeah, a lot of prayer.
A lot of prayer. You're right. Okay, we're going to get out of here. Mark Levin is coming up next. I will see you guys right back here tomorrow. Y'all have been so much fun today. Thank you very much. Have a lovely evening. As always, we love you. God bless. Buckle up. Bye, y'all.